Hello. All right. Hello. Hi. All right. Welcome to Life Coaching Access, your daily access with professional certified life coaches brought to you by Life Coach Philippines. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but thank you for joining me today. Life Coaching Philippines is our community of professional certified life coaches certified by the Global Institute for and we aim to help individuals experience the process of transformation through the platform of life coaching. If you want to know more about our international coaching classes and services, please connect with Coach Roselle through 0917 586 1661 for your assistance. By the way, I am Coach Tony with En Route to Forgiveness. Moving on, begin my Your access with me is every Sunday at 2 p.m. Advice also the guru. Mobile phone at 0. To Selfless Me, which is our episode for today, and from episode 17, Beneath the Shadow of Pride. I hope to join you guys today in this beautiful episode of Life Coaching Access. And we will start today's episode with From Self Centered Me to Selfless Me. I want to ask everyone a simple thing I'd like to ask. Hello, I think I'm already live. All right. So, is it this image? Is it someone not giving what they need to? Is it this image? Someone taking something from someone? Whatever it is, Whatever image pops into your head when it comes to the word selfishness, keep that in mind for now. Keep in keep that image in your head. Now, with selfishness comes selflessness. When I say the word selflessness, again, similar to two, all right, so I'm back. Sorry, apologies for the technical difficulties again. I think there is a problem with my internet connection at home. So, anyways, so to put it back, now, after you think of all those images that come together with the word selfish, I want to ask now, what image comes to your head when you think of the word selfless? Is it a phrase like don't just take but give? Is it more or less giving someone something? Should you give gifts or should you give or be generous of sorts? Or is it just the word give? For most of us, it may be about anything really. Can be any of those things that comes into our head. I want you everyone watching now, just to keep that in your mind. Keep those images in your mind, whether it be selfishness or selflessness. Keep those things to heart, because now we have to ask ourselves the very important question of, why is the thought of being selfish or self-centered bad? I'm pretty sure that most of us growing up would think that, oh, I shouldn't be selfish, or oh, uh, medyo madamot ka, or oh, you are very selfish, you shouldn't do that kasi ano, kasi you should think of others and all that, blah 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 blah. Whichever reason that may be, it's something that has been ingrained in us, I'm pretty sure. Now you should always be giving to others, you should always be willing to give to other people. And essentially that is true. We were taught that at a very young age, and that's a good lesson to have. But is self-centeredness really that bad? Well, not really. We usually think of self-centeredness as something negative, as something that we shouldn't think of as much. But as we've learned this entire month, as you love yourself, you'll begin to realize that you deserve and create your own sense of love. Meaning, as a complement to last week's episode, isn't that self centeredness a positive? In that, when we look into ourselves, when we look at ourselves, not too much, but to the point where we love and care about ourselves, isn't that the thing that we want to have? That love and respect that we each deserve for ourselves? We have to remember that taking care of ourselves first is okay. Meaning, again, finding that love for ourselves and finding time for ourselves is very important. In doing this and in searching for ways to love ourselves, that matters. That matters to us, to keep ourselves whole, to keep ourselves loving, to keep ourselves intact. And that is something that we should always remember, that before we give to others, we have to give ourselves first. Not not to the point where we have to keep ourselves at the center of everything. Not to the point where we have to ignore other people, but in serving ourselves, in accepting for who we are, for everything that we do, for everything that we want to accomplish, we have to take care of ourselves first. And when we know how to take care of ourselves, we can probably know how to best take care of other people. And that is a very important lesson that we should all take in. A key thing to remember, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in the audience who's watching the replay, thinking about ourselves too much can negatively affect how we see ourselves with our relationships with different people. Now, going back to what I said, remember, if we think too much about ourselves, we tend to ignore other people. When we focus inwards too much, we tend to not see what's on the outside. A perfect example would be when we count, or when we um what's a perfect example for this? When we, for example, when we who we are based on what we need to do. I guess a better example would be when we are applying for jobs, so to speak. And in that moment, or in that moment of our job interview, we don't tend to think about the other applicants, right? We tend to think about ourselves. To put it into context, we tend to think ourselves in that moment. And we tend to think, oh, I need this job, or oh, a um, I need to find work because I need to support myself and my family. But we tend not to think that there are others too. In that moment of you taking a job interview, or that moment in time where you're at an organization, other people are lining up as well. And we acknowledge that they are also applying for that job or for a job. But we usually don't think of what their position is, why they are applying for a job. Maybe it's because it's either their first job, or they don't have a job yet, or maybe they're really in need of a job, and that's why they are applying. That's what I mean. Now, if we focus again on ourselves, we tend to be blind, or we tend to not focus too much on the outside, our key relationships with different people. Right? Basically, what it boils down to is we if we become exclusively concerned with ourselves, we tend not to see other people. We tend to not see the interconnecting relationships between other people. When we think of self-centeredness, we always tend to think of selfishness. It's always that connotation that, oh, you are self-centered, or oh, you are selfish. Is it really? Is it really? Is self-centeredness really selfishness? The key there actually is to change our thoughts into focusing on the more important things. Or essentially, we have to change our thought process into thinking that self centeredness is really selfishness. Selfishness is the extreme of self centeredness. I want you guys to make that clear. Self centeredness is not necessarily selfishness. Selfishness is self centeredness. When you become self centered, that just means that you focus on yourself. It doesn't necessarily mean that, oh, because I'm focusing on myself right now, that I don't care about others. No, not really. You Taking care of ourselves should be the first thing that comes to our mind, whether it be eating the right amount of food, or whether we should take care of our mental health, or whether it be taking care of our own emotional well being. Focusing on ourselves is not necessarily a bad thing, but too much of it is. To the point, again, and I cannot stress this enough, when we focus on ourselves and not other people, it tends to not, it tends to break relationships. And again, the key is to change our thoughts into focusing on the more important things. And for us individually, that can be our own mental health, that can be our own physical health, that can be our own personal interpersonal relationships. It's not necessarily selfish to be self centered, but too much self centeredness can lead to selfishness. I hope I make that clear. Change the exclusivity to centering what your life is based on. This, again, basically means that we have to recenter ourselves. We have to relook at our relationships with ourselves and other people, and we have to realign our own values, our own relationships, our own selves. We have to look at where we are now and ask ourselves, is it serving us? Is what we're doing serving best serves what we need to do, who we are, where we need to go, our goals in life? Does it best serve us? And we have to focus one aspect of focusing on ourselves is through forgiveness. We love ourselves, yes. We care about ourselves, yes. But for those of us who have a hard time forgiving ourselves, we have to take the time to take to heart that it's okay, that everything is fine, that everything is okay. Forgiving ourselves is the first step towards everything I've talked about this entire month, this entire series of talks about en route to forgiveness. I've put emphasis on self forgiveness because it is the most powerful thing you can do for yourself, whether it be hating others or whether it be not liking others or not liking yourself. The fact that the first step towards everything is to accept who you are and forgive yourself for everything that you've done. That is the first step towards moving on and to create that balance of self, that balance that you need. Forgive yourself for the things that you do. Hug yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself that it's okay. That it's okay to know that you created the situation where it was where you didn't want to be, or where you're in a situation that you aren't necessarily are in right now, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. But the first step again is to forgive yourself. And when you forgive yourself, you can uplift yourself and bring yourself forward to where you need to go, because you've accepted that part of yourself and you know that you have the strength to forgive yourself. When you have the strength to forgive yourself, you can move forward to where you need to go because you've created that strength for yourself. Again, the key is to be kind to yourself. And when we become kind to ourselves, we become kind to others. We become kind to others because we know what it feels like to be kind to ourselves. We know what it feels like to empathize or to sympathize with ourselves. We know we can understand what other people are going through because we understand it ourselves. We become empathy. We empathize, we sympathize, we become sensitive to others' emotions because we know what it's like. If you don't and it's not and if you don't necessarily understand what people are feeling, you understand the emotion that they're going through. They're sad because of something, they feel angry because of something, they feel emotional because of something. That level of empathy, that level of understanding is really comes from us understanding where we come from. Again, my, my fellow audience members, again, the people who are watching this on replay, you have to understand that selfishness or self-centeredness in the in the in the notion of understanding that our emotions and who we are as people, who we are based on where we are currently in our lives, it's something that's important to see or important to view, in that when we understand ourselves and we understand our where we are currently in our lives, then that's enough. Now, is it possible to again to go to that extreme of focusing in ourselves for the most part? Yeah, it is possible. But remember, in order to understand people, in order to understand what others people are going through, we have to understand ourselves too. And when we understand ourselves, we can understand people. And when we complete that circle, that circuit, that interpersonal relationships that we have with different people, and yes, we finally are able to see how we can relate to other people and how we can be kind to people and how we can connect with people. And again, us coaches are here if you need any help. Us coaches have gone through different life experiences, life life messages, hurdles, blocks, and each of us coaches here in Life Coaching Philippines, in Life Coaching Access, in Life Coach Corner, or wherever you see us, we know we've experienced a certain thing in our lives, a certain life experience, and we know how much it is to hurt, how much it hurts us, how much pain, suffering, but also the kindness that we receive. And we understand better. For some of us, more so than others, but we understand what it is that you may go through. Maybe not necessarily the way you went, the exact way you've been there, but we understand the entire process, or rather the entire experience, and we want to help you. And if you want to message us, then be feel free to message any of us coaches, because we are here to help. And I hope that in this kindness that you give for yourself, and maybe in the future you can be kind to others as well. As we end today's episode, let me invite you to visit our coaching hub at D Cup Coffee Republic, located at the Pioneer Center compound along Brixton and United Streets, Capitolio, Pasig City, just across by Nian Center. So if you know where Unilab is, then it's just right across there. It's the second floor there. If you're along the road, you can see the signs that says D Cup Coffee Republic. You just ask the guard where it is, and he will show you the way. Our coaching hub is open physically from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. only, but virtual operations is 24/7, and we offer coaching services on demand any time of the day, any day of the week. Please connect with Coach Rizal through 0917-586-1661 for your coaching needs. Again, thank you for joining me today, and I hope to see you next week at the same day at the same time. Love, bum, boom, everyone. Thank you.